Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle Earth here with some ideas for some things I think we need in Season 2 to make this game even better. So stay tuned. All right, with Season 2 seemingly on the horizon, a lot of players that have started out early on have kind of wrapped up in their servers and they're just kind of waiting for Season 2 to start. So I thought it'd be a good time to talk about what things I think would improve this game going into Season 2. As always, if you have any ideas yourself, leave them in the comments below, because I'd love to hear what everyone thinks about these ideas as well as any new ideas they have, because the devs are listening, they are asking questions, they are taking feedback. We've seen that very clearly. And so the more information we can get out there and the things that we can say, yes, we like this, or no, we don't like this, the more we can shape this game to be an enjoyable experience for everyone. So number one on my list is going to be faction population caps. And what I mean by that, I'm going to put some text up on the screen to kind of demonstrate how I think this could look. But basically, as a new server opens up, there'd be a limit on the amount of players that could join a faction until enough factions have reached certain thresholds. So instead of a new server opening up and 500 people joining a faction, maybe every faction opens up with a cap of 100 players until those caps or a certain cap has been hit by every faction. It stays like that. And so servers kind of grow more equally. Now, I know some players, I'm playing on a server where there's a lot of players in one group. I don't personally have a problem with it, but I know some people do. But if there were players that wanted to play on more of like a big team battle style map like that, maybe there are some servers, and there probably wouldn't be very many of these, but maybe there are some servers where there's only 2 to 4 factions in the map. Maybe, you have just kind of the corner or edges have one faction there. And so you could play with larger amounts in factions right away. But I think overall, having things more spread out is going to be helpful because it keeps factions active, which means there's more going on in the game, which means it's just a more enjoyable experience. So again, I don't know exactly how that would flesh out, but I think some kind of faction cap like that could be helpful in keeping factions active and keeping players engaged, because if your whole faction kind of goes inactive, it gets really hard to do stuff, and it just gets, it gets kind of boring. And then if you feel like you have to change factions, that sets you back. It's just tough. So I think that'd be very helpful moving into Season 2. The next thing I want to talk about is tavern games. Now, this is not as big of a deal as the last one, but this is something I've mentioned just kind of as a joke. A lot of games that have taverns, I feel like that I've played, have kind of different tavern, like little card games or whatever, where you can go in and do stuff. And maybe this could be an additional use for gold in the game, where you can go in and play these types of card games. The game that came to mind for me was like Fable 2, when you go into the different taverns and have the kind of different gambling, whatever, that can happen in these different card games, or, dice game or whatever. So I think something like that, just to add a little bit of, extra stuff to do. Maybe if you're waiting for a commander to march and they're marching for 10 minutes, you could hop in here and play a tavern game. Also, if you have the ability to play tavern games with fellowship members or friends or whatever, you could invite people to play a game with you. And I think it could be a fun way to help people engage with each other without really breaking the economy by adding a feature that people could like farm gold or whatever. But if there was just something kind of fun like that, I think it'd be enjoyable. So I think I'd like to see something like that. I think would just be interesting. Obviously not as game breaking as some other suggestions, but I think it could be fun. Kind of in line with that, I would love to see more uses for gold. Gold is pretty much used right now to upgrade troops and to hire troops. And so I think even adding, items that you could buy with gold as an option would be kind of nice. If you go to the exchange right now, you can use the just dismantled stuff you have to buy gear. Maybe if there was a row of this that also allowed you to buy things with gold, especially if you're free to play. Matham coins, they're not skimpy with them, but depending on what drop rates you get, if you're playing completely free to play, you might not have as much gear. So sometimes saving up that gold and being able to get some more options just to give you more stuff could be nice. So I think kind of in addition with the last one with the tavern games, just some more uses for the gold would be nice. And it would also incentivize people to play more events that have to do with giving you gold. And on that note, I want to talk about events as my next one. I would love to see more interactive events like Heart of a Hero. Heart of a Hero has been super fun, but it is super one-sided for the good faction. If you have healing units, you can do this a lot easier, a lot sooner, and have like little to no troop lossage, whereas Evil, it's just a lot more difficult, and you're going to burn through your troops, so you cannot do it as much. If you're playing as gold, you can, if you have the time on the weekends and you're playing as a good faction, you can pretty easily get unlimited gold basically and just max all your troops out, hire all the troops you want, whatever. So I think we need some balance there, or just some other events that kind of favor the evil side a little bit more, or aren't as heavy on the healing being necessary. So whatever that looks like, more interactive events where you can earn gold and do things, especially if you're free to play, you can play in these events, work really hard on them, and then have more uses for your gold, like getting gear, maybe going to the tavern and playing some games, whatever it might be like that. But I would love to see more interactive events like Heart of a Hero. For the most part, the events that are in here right now just kind of reward you for doing stuff you should be doing, which is nice. So we took a keep today, and I got all this unlocked. Awesome, great. I got a lot of resources. I'm happy these things are in here too. Same with Master of the Forge. It's a very good one where if you're just upgrading gear, you get a lot of stuff. Great. But the Heart of a Hero is actually kind of a live event, and I would love to see more live events like that. And kind of in that same vein with events, I would love to see commander-specific events where, whether it be commanders we already have or new commanders that get introduced into the game, don't just throw them in a Matham chest and say, hey, new commander in this chest, you can pay to unlock it, or we've added it to the rare treasures so you can start trying to get that. Maybe add them as a live event where you can battle certain types of army that are thematic with that commander to get respect for that commander. Now, I don't expect commanders just to be handed out for free, but again, just something to help players along the way and have more to do that's kind of live and interactive, I think would be really, really good. And you could do this with new characters or old characters where, again, you could even make the argument that maybe it'd be cool if we got Gandalf the Grey respect for doing Heart of a Hero against a Balrog. And maybe for Smaug, I don't know who the best character would be to go against Smaug, but some kind of commander that is equal to that, or if they end up adding Shelob, because there's a spider right here, maybe you get Frodo and Sam respect, or whatever it is. I think there are a lot of options, but I think if they added commander specific live events like that, where you can go around and do specific things that are kind of thematic with that commander to earn some respect for them, or maybe earn special gear for them, or whatever it is, I think that'd be super, super cool. And lastly, on the list, not game breaking. None of these I think are game breaking, but I think they could be nice, is the Red Book of Westmarch. The Red Book has been kind of hit or miss for me. Some of them were more difficult and you had to use strategy, and I really enjoyed those. Some of them seemed like it really came down to RNG, where people were saying, yeah, you just do this really easily, and it took a few tries. And then some of them were just, you just steamrolled them. They're super easy. You didn't have to think about it. So I think seeing a more strategy-based book that we go through, and you actually have to look at your army, you have to look at the enemy's armies, and you can do different things like that, I think would be nice, as well as having more than 18, because it does not take long to do this. So it would not be too much to expect a player to get on and do this every day, and after 18 days, just over 2 weeks, you're done. But the seasons last for several months, so I think this needs to be longer. And whether they just want to expand in these chapters and have certain, several things, there's only one for Helm's Deep, but you could really have Helm's Deep A, B, and C, where it's different, like kind of events that happen within Helm's Deep, I think pretty easily. I don't think anyone would mind that. And then maybe for each like main category, there's a bigger reward after you unlock and finish all 3 of the other ones, and the other ones give you smaller rewards like resources and whatnot, but maybe you get some special gear, or again, you could get commander respect for commanders that featured in these different areas, like in Helm's Deep or like Minas Tirith. You might get Gandalf the White, or you might get the Witch King, or whatever it is, depending on what faction you're playing as. So I think seeing this expanded on, again, the game has a season pass. A lot of players have gotten that, the challenge pass, whatever you want to call it. They've bought the premium pass here. So maybe adding, I'm not saying I want more things added that cost money, but maybe, add something to this premium pass to where if you have this, you also get some premium Red Book content where you have additional tiers after the first couple of weeks or whatever. I still think there should be more for everyone, but maybe you take it to 30 days. And then if you have the battle pass, you get an additional month of additional ones you can do, or something like that. Again, just to keep players engaged. You want players playing the game every day. You want stuff happening in your servers. And I think that could help with that a little bit. So again, I don't think any of these are going to be the end all be all for the game, but I do think some or any of these used would improve the experience in Season 2. But I'd love to hear what you all think about this. And I'd love to hear if you have any other ideas that you think would also be helpful for Season 2. But that's going to do it for me in this video, and I hope to see you all in a future one.